Okay, so this is gonna be an analysis of both Ontricus' new world records in 1.15. He got two of them in 2 days, which is absolutely insane. Both of these are very much deserved. I know he's been grinding a lot recently, and with these two runs, he now has six sub 18s, which is most of anyone in this category, and pretty much the new standard for a good run. So I'm gonna be a bit harsh in this analysis because I know he's gonna be continuing to grind this category, and I would like to see sub 16 and eventually sub 15 happen. I also hope this is useful to you if you're also top 15 runner or 1.15 runner, and hopefully interesting if you're not into 1.15. All right, so let's get started with the first run, the 1610. All right, so right at the bat, presses Shift F3 and then does a quick spin around, which is if you have multi, this is pretty much how you want to reset. If there's no bell or village block on the Pydar, you immediately reset. If there is, you only want to spend a little bit of time on the seed. So in this run, he sees the coastal and knows that it's a pretty good ocean, or knows that the ocean is pretty close, pretty much immediately into the run. So this is pretty much what you want to be resetting for. The village is pretty close, and it's not going to be too hard to get the hostage to the ocean. So pretty much a perfect world for what you want to be resetting for. Right. So this is probably the most important part of the coastal is the beginning as you're running there. So you want to try to figure out you want to figure out what your route's going to be. You want to know if there's a composter, a brewing sand, blacksmith. So I'm not sure if you could tell from the when he did Python in the very beginning, but there's a blacksmith here. It's all the way over there at the other side of the village. So if there is a blacksmith, you want to be getting there as soon as possible, um, because it's probably going to help you. I'm probably going to save a decent amount of time making tools. The other thing about this coastal is that it's a desert, which is pretty annoying to get logs for. Normally, what you want to do is either go to a tree that's nearby, or um, if there's a lot of times you'll have completely desert, no other biomes in sight, in which case you'll probably want to swim to a shipwreck or something. Right, so in this case, he spawns sort of far away from the ocean. I'm not sure if there's a shipwreck at the very beginning, but it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, so um, pretty much the only logical tree to go to is this one right here, which is the one he ends up going to. And the route for this type village, or this type of tree and village proximity, is to get 4 logs first, um, then punch dead bushes, and then find a crafting table house. Then you'll be able to make all your tools, or you'll be able to make a wood axe and all your stuff, a boat and 3 doors. In some cases, you might want to just make all your wood at all your stuff and wood axe at the tree. But this tree only has 6 logs, which is not enough. Um, or not enough if you're wait, sorry, this tree has 5 logs, which is not enough for all your stuff. And even if it does have 6 or more logs, um, it's generally a time save to punch 4 logs and then do the rest. Right. So, and one other thing that you should know when you're approaching a village is whether there's a composter. There's one right here. Desert villages tend to have composters very often. And you also want to know how many hay bales there are. So just over here in front of the composter, there's a ton of hay bales, and that's probably all the hay bales you'll be able to front load. Right. So given this number of hay bales and the fact that those comps are pretty close, um, pretty much always the play to front load some emeralds here. Um, so he does the four log route that I mentioned earlier. Um, and there are 2 dead bushes here that he could punch. And then um, not sure if he knows that the blacksmith is there since he goes to the right side of the village. But the right play here probably would have been punch the dead bushes, go to the blacksmith, check if there's useful stuff like iron stuff, and then try to find the crafting table house. So sound a bit. Um, right. What he could also be doing here is there's a farmer village right over there. You could check if that guy has a wheat trade. He breaks a composer here, which not too big of a deal, but it would have been nice to see if there's the correct trade there because he can pretty much get all his hay bales right now. Right, so he ends up getting 38. You need 36 for 16 emeralds, which is the maximum you can get with a single trade. Um, Generally, people like to get a little bit more than 36 because you might not get enough food from village chests. Um, I think the play here would have been to get 36 or maybe even less, because desert villages tend to have a lot of chest houses that have both bread and wheat. Um, so with 38, you'll very likely get more food than you need for the entire run. And getting something like if 36 or even 35 or 34 isn't too big of a deal because front loading 14 or 15 emeralds versus 16 is a very small difference. So yeah, the right play probably would have been to go to the blacksmith house, the blacksmith, and then the crafting table house over there. But for whatever reason, he goes to these houses first. Oh, and I also forgot that he forgot to punch the dead bushes back there, which is going to be a bit of a problem in a bit. And there's one dead bush right here too. Yeah, so if he had gotten 4 sticks from dead bushes, then he would have been able to start crafting. After you use all 16 logs and 2 sticks, you'll have the wooden axe, 3 doors, a boat, and 2 planks left over, and you can use those 2 planks to make sticks, and you'll have 6 sticks, which is all that is pretty much exactly what you need. But he punches the table there, which loses a bit of time, right? And he gets an iron pick and 4 iron there. It's still a good play to punch the 4 logs before going to the village, because if you don't have any iron, or yeah, if your blacksmith is basically useless, then you still have the 4 logs. In 1.16, you might, or you would want to just high roll getting iron the blacksmith, but in 1.15, um, blacksmiths aren't too useful. They might save you a bit of time, but they're not they're not particularly important. There's some Nexus stuff there. Mine's an extra call. It's not too big a deal. And it makes his tools. Um, this is probably the correct craft. It might have been a good idea to make a bucket instead, in case there's another entrance immediately next to the village that you would want to enter in. But he hasn't crafted a water axe yet, so this is probably the right play. And then crafts bread. Yeah, so here's what I'm talking about. He gets 15 bread, um, which is if you're going for a record, there's probably going to be less than 10 bread in the whole run. Um, it's pretty comfortable to get 12 bread. Um, so 15 bread is a bit much, but not too big of a deal. Right, so this is what happens next is probably the biggest mistake of his coastal routing. He gets 3 extra doors from these houses, because he hasn't crafted doors yet because he wants to save the extra 6 planks he gets for a shield later on. Um, I think it's a good idea to, if you're a shield user like me and Ontricus, I think it's a good idea in these cases to either um, either mine a single door or 2 doors. Mining 3 is a bit unnecessary. You only really need 2 doors in the entire run. You want to do that, or you just want to go shieldless. Since getting a shield is it's normally not too big of a deal, since mining 2 extra logs is only around 3 seconds. But in this case, in a desert village, it's going to take a decent amount more time. And getting these three doors from these two houses costs maybe 10-15 seconds. Right, so forgot to mention as he's running over here, he's looking for a villager to take hostage. Doesn't see one, so this guy's best option. And there's a villager that shows up there for some reason that wasn't there before. I have no idea where he came from. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Right, so he takes this guy. It's you don't have to break the job block there, as he doesn't do that. Because once you're um, some distance away from the village, I can't remember how much it might have been, like 60, 70 blocks, and then the villager automatically loses job. This is the problem if you're at the village pretty late, like after 7:30, because then the villager won't lose his job. That's pretty much never happening if you're resetting like a double day runner. And so here he boats down to the ocean. Might have been a good idea to go to the left, but going to the right is still fine. It's probably a good idea to get out of the boat and start punching the boat towards the sea. Um, but he doesn't do that. It's only a small time save, and it's a little bit risky, so some people don't like to do it. But I think if you're going for the record, it's good to start doing it and get good at it so you don't make mistakes. Right, so let's see, when does he leave the village? So 2:54, which is a pretty solid village leave. If you're going for the record, you want to be averaging sub three. Um, so 2:54 is pretty much ideal with this amount of emeralds. If you're skipping front loading, you should probably average around sub two. But yeah, there's a good amount of time to be saved in this village, maybe 20-25 seconds. But still a nice leave to have. So there he flashes his chords. So negative z that way, positive x that way. So this is pretty much perfect chords. He leaves the village around 450 blocks from the origin, and he's already heading towards the correct direction. And the correct direction has ocean, has very good deep ocean, which is what you want. Yeah, he's lucky that this is Starlight because in a real run that probably would have been retimed, or that probably been added to his time. This pause. Okay, so he goes to this shipwreck. Let's probably speed this up. Um, what is it here? So he gets 12 emeralds here, which is quite a lot. The average is 3.6, and he also gets 6 iron. So this is pretty much the only shipwreck he has to visit in this entire run. Um, it's not enough for double bucket and flint and seal, but the correct play here is to only make one bucket. Um, and then you'll have to do a waterlock cycle or slab cycle. This is one of the mistakes Marco makes in his record. That he already has enough M's, but he goes to another shipwreck. Right, and then somewhere here is his magma ravine. Yep, right there. So for sandless runs, this will show up later, but you want to be going nether first more often than monument first. Um, because after you leave the nether, you can dock at an island, um, and then convert your hostage to a cleric, and then once you get to the monument, you can um, do all your day one trades, get pearls right at the monument without docking. So it makes his bucket and shield here, gets flint. Crafts to the flint and steel as he's going down the magma, which is a nice time save. He already has one cobble from the blacksmith, so he only needs two more cobble. The normal no cobble skip portal gives you two cobble most of the time. So he knows that he's going to be able to get three cobble for the brewing stand. It might have been a good idea to maybe do the normal three cobble portal that we use, except you'll be able to do a cobble skip since the normal three cobble portal by its name gives you three cobble. Um, but the sorry, I'm missing the words. The cobble skip only gives you two, so he gets his lava there. And this is one of the mistakes. I know Pingu's kind of upset at this, that he doesn't grab soul sand here. It's a free time save. Like there's no reason not to get soul sand. You'll be able to use it to exit the ravine. Um, if you have a high CPS or know how to switch your right mouse button to a keyboard button, you'll be able to also make a docking set with it. And you'll be able to use it later in the run if you need to get more shipwrecks. And surfacing from those saves a decent amount of time. So not doing that probably cost him, I would guess, 5 seconds in the run, which is not too big of a deal, but it's just nice to have those time saves. And since you're boating in the ocean so much for so much of the run, there's not a lot of time saves that can be had. So getting every single time save that's possible is really worth it. So yeah, his fortress nav is a bit shaky here. I'm not sure if he saw Blaze Crackles in his subtitles here, since they're hidden, but that might be what he's going for. Right, it turns out the spawner's right here. So if you're using a shield in a Blaze fight, you want to be either right here he goes up to this Y level. You want to be either higher than the blazes or jumping continuously. Because the two ways blazes can still hit you if you're using a shield. Is if they hit the top of your hitbox, which is not protected by the shield, or they set fire to the ground beneath you. So if you're jumping, they'll be aiming higher, so the fire won't touch the ground and set you on fire. And also, it's less likely for the fireball to hit your head or hit the top of your hitbox. So yeah, that's pretty much how you should be playing blaze fights with a shield. And he blaze beds here. So if you're going for the record, you should blaze bed almost every single run that's possible. He has can't remember how many beds he has, but he has a comfortable amount. So the correct play here is to blaze bed. Um, I saw someone say somewhere that that 1.15 players don't blaze bed, which is false. We do. This is a perfect example. All right, forgot to mention something is that immediately after your blaze bed, you want to first um, you want to get rid of the blocks right around the spawner and also break the fires around the spawner. There's one fire block there which um, it's very close to the spawner, so it's going to prevent a decent amount of spawns. So you should have broken that fire. Turns out not to matter because it puts itself out before the next cycle spawns. But that one fire there is preventing a lot of spawns. Can't remember exactly how much it prevents, but um, that block, the four blocks immediately adjacent to it, and probably the 8 blocks in the diamond next to those are also prevented from spawning. Um, right, so let me fast forward through this. Yeah, that's oops, not too big a deal. He has enough food. And the blaze cycles are kind of fast here, but um, The correct play was to start breaking the fires on the sides, which she does right here. And it's also a good idea to start breaking this wall, and also this wall in the back, which they're gonna help spawns only a little bit, but in 1.15 you're gonna be short on blocks a lot of the time, which can be a problem if you're trying to dock to do trading, and also if you're in the end and want to bridge to the fountain or bridge to the center of the island. So he gets 7 rods and he's out. Um, yeah. Yeah, one of the mistakes here is that one of the huge benefits of getting 3 cobble before the nether in a standless run is that you'll be able to craft the stand in the nether between blaze cycles, which is basically a free time save. Here he's going to have to craft the brewing sand at the docking setup. And here you can probably say that it was a good idea to either bet emoji or be more aggressive in dropping down. Since he has plenty of food, good amount of health, and um, after this point, eating is going to be pretty much free. He can eat in the portal, lose no time, or eat while he's boating. So dropping down there, you can even argue he could just drop down from here all the way to the bottom. I don't know if he would have enough health, but yeah, either bet emoji or um, drop down while taking a bit of damage. Yeah, he forgets to grab the soul center again. And not too big of a deal. I also do that very often. And here is also a decent amount of time lost. You only really need one door when you go into the monument. 2 doors is nice, but it takes a little bit of time to go around the portal and get the other one. So um, another thing is he sleeps immediately after leaving the nether, which is extremely important. Um, I have a routing video that emphasizes this a lot. And let's check when. Oh wait, I'm thinking of the other run. This run he doesn't sleep. But yeah, again, look at the splits for a bit. He leaves another around 8:40. When does he enter? Enters about around 4:40. So 4 minute nether splits, which is not the best, but still doable. And both of those times, enter nether and leave nether, are pretty good. You want to be entering nether if you haven't gotten the monument yet, preferably sub 5. Sub 4 is nice, and sub 6 is generally what you want to get. Um, and leaving nether sub 9 is nice, especially if you don't know if you have a monument yet. If you do have a monument, it's probably okay to leave sub 10. Okay, so you sees the monument there. This is the correct play. Immediately lower his render distance. Even if the monument is at the very edge of the render distance, the guardian at the top can still move around. Um, and if it moves into the chunk that's closer to the side of the gold, you can still get donged. So it gradually lowers his render distance with Shift F3 F, which is nice. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, um, what you want to be doing immediately after you leave the Nether is thinking of where you're going to convert your hostage to cleric. This is going to be a major time save. Like as I mentioned before, um, you won't have to dock again after the monument. Um, if you do dock at the monument or after looting the monument, it's going to be a bit messy since you have to get a little bit of distance from the monument. You don't know if you're going the correct direction of the stronghold, and pillar docking also loses time compared to docking on an island or on land. So this island is pretty much the perfect place to do it. Um, but for a reason, he forgets to do that. And this is probably the biggest or most easily preventable time loss in this entire run. Um, let's fast forward to when he's at the monument. Right, and F3F and Shift F3F is also nice to not overshoot the monument. Um, if you turn it down to 200 just immediately, there's a chance you might miss it. So right here, there's a monument, there's a guardian right there, which if it gets in the boat with the hostage, it can be annoying. You have to either kill the monument or break the boat. So it's a good idea to leave the boat a little bit of distance away from the guardian. So here, this is up-to-date monument routing. Um, he finds the top four gold blocks and the bottom four. So water flows into all eight blocks of the gold container, and it's not a problem to swim out of it. All right, so here it's 10:43 actually. You want to be sleeping at 10:27 ideally, which is the earliest time. With the new timer mod, the lag is going to make that a little bit later. If you have a good PC, it's still going to be 10:27, but um, I have a bad PC and usually it's only 10:27 IGT when this timer says 10:30 or 10:35. But yeah, he's at 10:27 inside the monument, which means he's gonna have to sleep immediately after leaving. He finds a piece of high kelp, which is the correct play, and sleeps. Now he needs to dock. Um, he should have probably docked back there where he slept. I don't know why he goes to this bit of kelp. He's backtracking a little bit since the origin is 0 0 is that way. Um, that's fine. And here, yeah, here's the biggest time loss of the run. Oh, also, small thing there is that um, you could have just put all seven rods there, and then double click twice and craft the broom stand and 12 blaze powder, but that's not too big of a deal. So he does this docking setup, which is what most people like to do nowadays. If you have a slab, it's better to do setup with instead of this block, you have a bottom slab there, um, since that one makes it so. Oh wait, and then there's also a full block where the broom stand is, and the broom stand is on top of the full block. That setup makes it so the sand doesn't fly away if you break it. You'll see in this run the sand does fly away and he loses a bit of time, which is sort of unavoidable unless you use the slab setup. Yeah, and I guess we can look at the trades. Um, it's um, 11:12. He just slept, so he's not doing lapisless. The lapis rod's obvious choice here, um, and doesn't need the fancy lapisless setup. So it does the 20 resin dust. Clicking individually. Shift clicking doesn't work since you won't get the gold discount. A lot of us found that out the hard way when we first began. So it does the full gold trade for lapis and pearls. So the reason why getting pearls this early is so good is that you can immediately start going towards the stronghold. Um, you'll be able to do day two starting at the earliest 12:12. This run I think when does he sleep? 10:50. So he'll be able to do day two starting 12:30. But yeah, he's able to start triangulating um, pretty early on. Here he throws his eye at 11:32, which is a pretty good time. If you want to be going for the record, the sub 12 is pretty good to get. You want to be getting sub 12 eye throws consistently. 12 XX eye throws are still were recordable, but not too good. Right. So, but in the future, um, I know Ontricus gets a lot of sub 10 eye throws, which are very good, pretty much equivalent to sub 7 or even sub 6 blinds in 1.16. Um, but sub 11 eye throws are pretty much ideal. Pretty much the gold standard for double day run since Doi Pingu invented the strat is to be trading above the stronghold at 12:12, meaning you slept at 10:27. and you're above the stronghold at minimum trading time. And so sub LMI throws are pretty much what we want to get that sort of time, which is probably how sub 15 is gonna happen in this category. The 11:32 is still pretty good. Nothing to complain about. Yeah, one thing here is that let's see, where's the eye go? Uh, So the eye's going basically above the monument. Um, and the play here is probably turn down to 2RD and then try to hug the monument as closely as possible. Um, Once you're on 2RD, you'll be able to go along this line of chunks. That's directly next to the line of chunks that's um, right next to the monument, so along there. But if you're not in 2RD, which I don't see a reason why not, he already knows the stronghold can be like in this area because um, this is a war motion. Uh, it would be pretty obvious right here. Um, she made this thing just today. The gold blocks show where you could possibly be donged if you're on more than 2RD. So this is pretty much worst case scenario if the guardian's like right at the edge of the monument. And you can see it's quite a bit farther away from the monument than this line of iron blocks, which shows the chunks that you can get donged if you're on 2RD. So yeah, if you turn down to 2RD, he could have stuck a little bit closer to the monument. And I think even in this case, there was a possibility that he could have gotten donged. But yeah, it's only a small time save, not boating as linearly as possible. He sees the stronghold right here. Um, right, and right now is when 12:30 happens. There's a new bug that we found very recently in the Sandless run where um, if the villager is above a block at 12:30 or 12:12, 1:40 after sleeping, then you might get a draw block bug, which is basically the villager doesn't know that previous workstation has been destroyed and tries to pathfind back to there, and your run's pretty much dead. Um, yeah, um, the villager is above open water at 12:30, so it's not going to be a problem. Yeah, so now he's going to be able to start doing day two. He won't have to wait at the monument. Oh, something I forgot to mention back here is see the monument goes towards the monument. The eye goes towards the monument. This is one of the problems with not locking your cleric at an island somewhere along the way from the nether to the monument, is that you don't know if you're going the wrong direction away from the stronghold. So in this case, he goes this way towards this patch of kelp, which happens to be the wrong direction to the stronghold. He has to backtrack. If he was able to dock all the way back at that island over there, then he would have been able to do his day one trades closer to the monument, um, basically right next to it, and that would have saved a decent amount of time. So I'll do it over here. So yeah, he's looking for the ocean exposed portal room. Doesn't see it, but turns out to be barely exposed. So docks at patch of high kelp. Maybe the other kelp over there is higher, but it's not too big of a deal. Does this setup again? In this case, you're doing day two, so you don't have to worry about the sand falling away. So doing slab setup doesn't matter. I'm not sure why he gets the pearls here. It's not too necessary. Well, if you bought pearls day one, then doing this won't give you any extra pearls since you most likely won't have the extra emeralds. But yeah, the villager restocks. He gets the gold trade and then buys pearls, and then starts looking for the porter room. Um, this stone brick right here turns out to be the porter room. Um, I think he probably saw that by the dimensions, but I don't know if I would have seen that. Oh yeah, so here he switches out his lava for water. So he's thinking of doing the waterlock setup. Might have been a good time save to craft the slabs for waterlock setup right there in between the two restocks, which are 15 seconds apart. But crafting them in the end is also fine. He breaks through and then goes in the portal. Yeah, so was and enters 1349, which is very good. This is actually the first run to beat the end enter record that I set 9 months ago. Um, it was April 4th that I entered the end at 1421, and finally someone's beaten that, which is nice. Yes. Yeah, he probably has a lot of nerves right now, I'd imagine. Yeah, crafts the slabs and then goes to do the setup. Yeah, nothing too much to say about this end. Goes opposite the dragon, which is what you want to do. Kind of gets rolled by the perch here. So one fireball. I'm gonna fast forward a bit. I think fireballs him again here. That was probably later. Yeah, here's the second fireball. You can probably say he could have moved in a way to make the dragon fireball him faster. Like over here, maybe if he moved to the left quickly, would have been able to get the fireball before turnaround. Would have saved a bit of time. Same thing with the first time he gets fireballed, but it's kind of hard to judge that, and um, not too big of a deal. Yeah, where's it? Um, yeah, here's the other place. Maybe if he turn to the left a bit, but it's whatever. Yeah, and then it's pretty comfortable one cycle. He almost gets the 4+1, but there's a bit of health left, and it's fine. It's generally a good idea to practice this one cycle. You can also do the slab jump one cycle if you don't have water or lava, which I also think is a good idea to practice. Yeah, he hits this without any trouble. And at the end is a bit shaky, but it's fine. Yeah, so 1610, the record by 7 or 10 seconds, depending on retime. So I guess let's go over this run as a whole. The village was a bit shaky, but he still leaves like a good, probably could have been 20, 25 seconds faster. And then gets out all his emeralds pretty much immediately, which is really nice. Um, no, there's a few small things, um, like breaking that fire right behind the spawner, and starting to mine out the blocks of the sides, and the breaking the fires of the sides. Not too much. And then going down this faster, small time save. Um, yeah, getting the soul sand. Um, could have mined one door instead of two. And the biggest time loss, which is not converting to cleric right over here at this island. I estimate that's probably a 20-25 second time loss. Because once he goes over here, he has to backtrack a bit and make the pillar docking setup, which is a bit slow. Oh wait, I just noticed this when rewatching. He throws out the kelp, which kelp is actually really useful. If you don't have a lot of blocks, in this case he does have blocks, but if you don't have a lot, then for example, at the pillar docking setup he makes here or at the stronghold for day two, he could use kelp, and I think it's just generally a good idea to randomly get kelp throughout the run. Sometimes if the kelp is kind of high, you can punch it while boning forward. If you're going down for a shipwreck or to the magma ravine. You can also sometimes punch kelp. But yeah, kelp is underrated in my opinion. Um, yeah, and after the monument, the rest is pretty straightforward. See, he gets his first weak stock at 1312, which minimum time is 1212. So there's about a minute that could be possibly saved. If you count up all the time losses throughout this run, there's around minute 20, which is not the greatest, but um, it's all right. Yeah, he could have been trading above the stronghold at 1212, which, given his purge, it wouldn't have been sub 15, but would have been a very, very good end enter. Yeah. And then waterlog cycles. One of the best plays in this run is not going to an extra shipwreck and doing waterlog cycle. And the other good play was blaze betting. Right, so this run in general, it's a pretty good run, but in my opinion, the time losses are kind of unfortunate, and a lot of them are pretty easily avoidable. Um, what we want in this category is to be trading above the stronghold at 1212. So any um, any time losses uh, that are added to that um, are pretty much the only time losses you can the only time saves you can get in a double day run. So I think all runners should be focusing more on these small things. But it's a pretty good run in general. Guess we can go to the next one. This one, in my opinion, it's a slower and enter a slower I throw, but this one's played a lot better than this one. So it reminds me of two other names, two world records within 2 days. The first one was a lot of people hated it, but the second one was played much better. Um, this is sort of like that. So I guess we can get into this run. 1602. It's kind of funny that end enters a minute slower. Right, so this one's very similar to the other run where um, he opens the pie, turns around, and immediately sees the village. Very good village to have. Um, Here it's probably a good idea to look around to see if there are shipwrecks, since there's a lot of ocean, a lot of potential for shipwrecks. Um, but there are none. So I guess looking at this village, what do we see? There's brewing stand and hotel, which are and also good amount of hay bales and a composter. Um, so hotels are very good for coastal village routing. Um, there's 4 beds, and generally you want for a top runner probably 5, 6, or 7 beds. Um, so there's a lot of time saved from not having to visit houses. It also simplifies your coastal routing, which um, makes it harder to mess up. I guess fast forward through this. And so again here there's a lot of wheat. There's a composter. It's pretty much obvious that you should be front loading here, since it can be very fast. People have been talking about not front loading, skipping front loading. I think if you're able to leave the village with 16 or um, 10 to 16 emeralds at like 230 or 245, still a very good village leave. Makes his tools here. Um, right. So breaking this composer might have been a mistake, but when that happens, um, the farmer usually will change job lock to that composer over there. Um, but yeah, he probably would have been a good idea to check this guy's trades first. One of the main time losses in a lot of runners close to village routing is it comes from having to check multiple villagers for the wheat trade. So the two best things that you could be doing is is checking any farmer villager. Um, and the other thing which you won't be able to see in this run because he gets it first try, is um, checking the putting down composters, checking villages throughout the run, like while you're going through village houses. And then since it takes a bit of time before after you place it on the composter, it takes a bit of time before um, a villager nearby will take the job. So you can task overlap that with looting houses. But yeah, he gets it here, which is a nice time save. This year I think it's a bit of a small mistake. Um, how many M's does he get from that? 27. So 12 emeralds is very good to have. I would probably at this point I would probably just leave the farmer and then continue on with the village routing. The difference between 12 emeralds and 16 emeralds isn't too big of a deal. He decides to get this patch of hay, which is fine. But the thing that could have happened here is that he's already traded 12, which means if the farmer restocks at his job block, then your prices will go up, which is pretty much the idea behind discount setting. If you only trade 8 emeralds or less, then the prices won't go up when he restocks. But any more than that, then your prices will get jacked. Yeah, he kind of lucky that it doesn't restock here and he gets a few more M's. I guess the Burning Sand, another house. Um, Probably would have been a good idea to plan to go to 2 or 3 houses and then hotel. Um, but decides to go through these few houses, which I guess is fine. Maybe he's looking for extra emeralds in the chest in these houses. But um, he goes he goes to a few, in my opinion, excessive houses. So probably at back here, um, he's already gone through. Well, after this house, he already has 4 houses, so he only needs um, probably 2 more beds. 6 beds is pretty much what you want to go with. Good proximity here, so probably good to go for 7 beds. But going to the hotel here is a bit awkward because he only gets 2 of the beds out of the 4. Um, yeah, so that's a bit of a small time loss. And also at this point he has 16 emeralds, um, which there's a small chance that after going through your shipwrecks you'll get to 14 or 15 iron, which is enough to make all your tools. 15 iron if you go for shields. This is a chance you'll get to that amount of iron um, before you get all 26 emeralds, which is what you need for a double day. Um, but if you have 20 emeralds from your coastal, there's a much higher chance. So getting additional emeralds here, or trying to force additional emeralds here, probably isn't the play. Yeah, he locks in the villager right here into a cleric, which is very important. I forget to do that way too often, but it can save a lot of time later on, depending on what your island proximity is. But goes to this shipwreck. I think this one also gives him decent emeralds. Yeah, I think that was 8 emeralds. He only has 5 iron and a diamond, so he needs to go to the next one. Hopefully, will give him the rest of his iron and 2 more emeralds, which is what he needs. So, yeah. Again, he immediately lowers his render distance upon seeing the monument, which is the correct play, and then decides to go to this shipwreck right here. Right, and there's small way you can go do this faster. Is if you go to the back end of the shipwreck, and then you'll be able to access the chest without having to enter the ship, which is a small time save. But um, entering from this side opposite the chest is a decent amount longer, maybe like 4 seconds longer. But yeah, yeah. Here he gets 17 iron, which is more than enough to make your tools. Probably would have been a good idea to get the gold ingot too, to make a gold shovel. And so at this point, he could start making tools already. 1.15, it's important to make your tools as soon as you get enough resources. Because if there's a monument really close, which there is a monument really close, then you have to go down to the seafloor again. That'll lose a bit of time since you're not doing that for anything except to make tools. So yeah, making tools right here. There's baby drowns here, but he can go a little bit to the left and he'll be fine from them. He loses a bit of time here to making the tools at this island, which is a bit awkward to get gravel to. Right, so makes his tools, makes a diamond shovel, which is nice. Obviously, if he had gone the gold, he should have made a gold shovel, which is faster. Yeah. Here, there's no, there's not really a guardian close to his boat, so probably would have been a good idea to leave the boat a little bit closer to the monument. Um, After a while, you can get a feel with it and pretty much never get a guardian into your boat. But yeah, this is good monument routing. Oh, something I also forgot to mention. Um, yeah, over here, there's a pretty good ravine um, right behind the monument. Um, this run is a stand run as opposed to the last one, which is standless. Um, in this case, you generally want to go to the monument first and then the nether. Obviously, it's not strictly necessary they go in that order, but um, it's nice to do that because then you'll have pearls to be able to pearl hang. It's also nice to know if you got one-thirded um, before the nether pretty early on, so which is slightly good and slightly better for reset efficiency. But yeah, there's um, a good magma ravine, or there's a good looking ravine over there, and that turns out to have magma. And if you had noticed that, then you could have entered there, and that would have been wouldn't have to lose time going to another ravine somewhere else. And one of the biggest time losses with runs in general that are monument first is that after the monument, looking for the ravine can take a decent bit of time. Starts doing day one, does the full gold trade for lapis, and then gets 6 pearls. And then there's a ravine right here. Something small here is that um, yeah, there's 3 seconds between each time the villager levels up. And in this case, he does the gold and then gets back into the boat and rows for a bit. This is a good way to task overlap those two things. He does it between the gold and lapis, but not between the lapis and the pearls, which this is small time save, but I think it's worth going for. Yeah, yeah, he has to farm gravel. Yeah, here is probably a good place for a cobble skip, but it's fine. Yeah, isn't able to get lava here, which is a little bit unfortunate. Um, I'm not sure when the spawner. Oh, there's one that shows up. But he doesn't see it, so he does a pyrite, a full pyrite, and it turns out to be that direction. So he has pearls now. Pearls are really really good when you're going to Nether because pearl hanging can save so much time. Like, even if it's a good Nether, it'll save a lot of time, and if it's a bad Nether, um, if you don't have pearls, probably reset. But if you do have pearls, you can still make it a really good Nether. Um, I had a run recently that had a 20 chunk fortress, but I with a pearl hang I was able to make that or it happened to be a 345 nether split, which just goes to show how good pearl hang is. Yeah. those are there. Useful thing to know for purple hanging is that 3 render distance is the same as 2 render distance. Um, yeah, and he turns down to 3 here, and slowly increases his render as he passes chunks, goes past chunk borders. And here he goes down to the lava ocean to get lava, but again forgot to get the soul sand, which has free time save. And he goes up to the fortress. Yeah, so the good part of fortress is back towards where he came, so yeah, he lowers his render distance, which is the correct play. And the spawner's right here. Um, Blaze beds, good play. Um, right, I think, yeah, he after blowing the bed, he punches the ground immediately below him. I don't think he did this in the last run, and he gets set on fire in the last one, but this run, um, doesn't get set on fire, which is good. Also, for a reason, he is faster at punching out the fires here too, which is um, makes this blaze split better played than the last runs. The blaze fight is pretty straightforward. Blaze betting was really nice to see in both of his runs. Yeah, and he's standing idle for a bit here. He has enough blocks, but again, it's good to mine out the wall to the left and right. You should pretty much be doing this at every close spawner. It gets rolled and rates a bit. And this still turns out to be around 4 minute another split. He enters 7:30, I think, and then leaves around 12:20 or 12:15. Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Sleeping immediately, and he already had his bed in his hotbar. Um, so sleeps at 12:17, which means he's able to start day two trading at 13:57. I guess we can talk about these splits again. He enters the Nether with pearls after Monument at um, let's see, around 7:30, which is pretty good. Guy's lagging on for whatever reason. He enters at 7:30, which is nice. Um, if you're going for record, you want to aim for sub 7, even sub 6. Sub 6 is really rare, but it's pretty nice. 7:30 is still good. And if you got a lucky nether, or since he was able to pro hang maybe even the average nether, he would have been able to get a 3 minute nether split. Yeah. After he leaves the nether, um, he sleeps and then is immediately able to throw an eye without docking. Which again, this is what is nice about double day, is that he's able to do day two until 13:57, but he's able to start going towards the stronghold. And so yeah, also here would have saved time to enter from the back of the shipwreck instead of that side. But that's only a small time save. Yeah. Um. Yeah, he goes to that shipwreck because he used the pearl to pearl hang, which means he's only able to get 11 pearls now. So um, let's go. Looking under the water to try to find the stronghold. which is good idea, especially if you're this far out and the ocean's really good. Yeah. It's not actually 1357 here, but pretty close. And here, the angle turns hard left, which means almost certainly the stronghold is on this island, and he tries to see if he can see if it's exposed, and gets the boat. Getting the boat from the villager on day two is um, nice, even if you're above the stronghold, because you might be able to either trap Enderman, um, if they're aggro towards you, or get them, kill them for pearls. Yeah, is the portal room. And this end is also pretty straightforward. It does have the double bucket, so he is able to do that setup. Yeah, it gets much faster per here. You could argue that right here it's 1530. If you're playing for the record, maybe you could say that you should have ran forward to basically force or play for the 113, or if purchased immediately after the whatever first node. But he runs all the way back here, which I guess is fine. Yeah, this is a purge. He goes for it, and it's pretty comfortable for 4+1, which is pretty respectable. But yeah, so the run finishes at 1602. It's only a 1443, I think, 1443 end enter, which is still very good. It's sub 15, which is there was only around a dozen sub 15 end enters. Um, but there's, I think, around three or four end enters that are faster than this. Yeah, but the run overall in general, I like this run more than the other one because um, if you count out all the time losses, there's only around 20-25 seconds, which is obviously much better. And also um, he pearl hangs in the nether, um, which is really nice to see. In my old PB, the 1701 that's on the leaderboards right now, I forgot to pearl hang, which was a huge mistake. Since I would have saved around a minute, and that might have been sub 16. Yeah, it's nice to see um, pearl hang world record. Yeah, let's go through the run again. So the running through houses was a bit messy, but village was alright. I think it was um, pretty much the same village leave as the other one. Yeah, 304, which is nice. This probably could have been 10-15 seconds faster, but um, the rest of the run is played pretty optimally. He's at the monument um, around 5 minutes and then enters 7:30 with the ability to pearl hang. And then gets an unlucky nether. It's fine. And then leaves. If there was an eye at 12:30. Um, it's also kind of sad to see a slower eye throw than the previous record, but I mean the his distance is good. I think he's almost in the ring already at this point, and the ocean is good. Um, but if you're in the future, I think 12xx side throws won't be too good anymore. Um, it's kind of funny seeing Pingu world record with a 922 I throw, and then immediately after that, Marco gets a record with a 1250 I throw, which is 3 minutes 30 seconds slower. I mean, it's just how the category is, but um, it would have been nice to see um, Ontricus get a sub 10 I throw because I know he's been getting a ton of those, but it is what it is, I guess. Gets the really close ocean exposed stronghold. Both of these runs, I think, are around 210 to 220 split from the I throw to the end enter, which is very, very good. There's the among the fastest I to end splits, there's only really Marco's run, which is a minute 45 seconds, which is insane. And then there's Johannes' PB, which is a 150 pi run, believe it or not. That's also around 2 minutes. And there's these two runs, which I think are the next fastest. And after that's the next fastest I think is 225 among top runs. So yeah, close ocean exposed strongholds. Or that might be it. Um, so yeah, this one, very good end enter, decent eye throw, but quite a few time losses that are easily preventable. Um, so I mean, it's nice to have a good end enter as a world record, but this one's 1602 is played much better in my opinion. Sort of like Two-Letter Name, where you got redemption with the second run. This is slower end enter than the old this record, Marco's record, and Pingu's record, which is I guess something, but I'm fine with it. I'm pretty happy with this record as it stands, and um, pretty much goes to show that sub 16 is very very possible. Um, the there's a ton of runs that are low 16 right now. Um, I think at seventh or eighth place is 1637, which is only a 35-second difference, which is really small compared to like how 1.16 was for months. So yeah, sub 16 is probably very very soon, and sub 15 hopefully we'll also see that. Yeah. Um. So I guess looking at this run, which is insane and enter, there's still a ton of time to be saved. Obviously, you want the 12-12 with the stronghold of the Ocean Exposed Portal Room. Um. Yeah. Yeah. So looking forward to seeing more records soon. It's probably going to be the two British guys, Ontricus and Doug. Um, they've both been getting sub 10 ISOs pretty regularly. Um, so hopefully the next record is going to be a pretty good ITHRO. Ontricus himself has the fastest one in 1.15 with an 840 and decent distance away from the origin too. Um, yeah, wish them both good luck. Um, good luck to the other 1.50 runners. Maybe one of you guys will get sub 16 or sub 15. I guess that's all. See ya.